Hi there, it's Sandra, and you are listening to the podcast A Duchess Like Us. Hello, and welcome to episode 10 of A Duchess Like Us, a podcast that reports positively and fairly on Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Today, I'm joined by my co-host for this episode. So, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Gayle, known as Breakthrough Diva on Twitter and social media, and I am an ardent supporter. I wouldn't even say fan. I'm a big supporter of Meghan and all that she stands for, and of course her lovely husband Harry and beautiful son Archie.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I'm Nelly, and I'm your sister from Scotland. You can follow me at Harklestan, and huge fan of the Sussexes and the work that they do.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So let's get started then. So the last couple of weeks in the UK have been very interesting and controversial for a number of reasons. The Sussexes announced that they would not be spending Christmas with the royal family at Sandringham, but with Meghan's mother, Doria. That's not really controversial, but, you know.
Not at all.
Really, you know, that's how it goes.
Well,
anyway.
It is if you're the royal family, I suppose. Or if you're the only biracial person within the royal family, then that's really controversial.
That's right, exactly. And there have also been updates on the lawsuits that Meghan and Harry have taken out against some of the newspapers in the UK. And finally, the scandal concerning another prominent member of the royal family that we've all been discussing for the last few months, but the press, the UK press, have hardly mentioned at all, has finally exploded after a very controversial interview which was broadcast last weekend. And in the UK, we are still witnessing the fallout from that interview. So today, in this episode of the podcast, we're going to cover the following topics. The Sussex's decision to spend Christmas with Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, and not go to Sandringham and spend Christmas with the royal family. Number 2, an update on Meghan's lawsuit against the Mail on Sunday. And finally, I don't really want to talk about it, but we have to. The attempt to link Meghan to the current scandal that is engulfing another member of the royal family. So let's start with number 1. The Sussex's decision to spend Christmas with Doria rather than the royal family at Sandringham. So on November the 13th, 2019, it was announced by a spokesperson for the Sussexes that they planned to spend Christmas 2019 with Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland. They explained that they had spent the last 2 Christmases with the royal family, and this year they would like to spend it with Meghan's mother. In the statement, it was also confirmed that the family would be taking an extended family break until the beginning of the new year, I think. As usual, the UK press tried to create a fake outrage about this situation. But considering in recent years that Zara Tindall, Peter Phillips, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have not spent Christmases with the Queen and the royal family at Sandringham, there was really no reason for this fake outrage at all. It was as if the Sussexes were going on a jolly rather than spending the Christmas season with the other part of their family, their black family. Ladies, what do you think about our first topic?
Well, okay, so I'll start by saying, well, it's a constant fuck you to the press. This was an ongoing thing for 3 days on Good Morning Britain, led by you know who with a fat neck.
What, the one that's made to? Oh no, go on, carry on.
Yeah, that prick.
Yes, yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this should not be a thing. Why is it so controversial? Oh yeah, it's only controversial because they are spending it with her black mother. You know, the only member of her family who is yet to chat shit on her, who has not sold her out to the press, the only one that was at her wedding, you know, and it is absolutely galling to me. And like you said, I don't know about Peter Phillips with regards to them. Him and his wife always seem to be at Sandringham, if I'm being very honest. But Zara, Zara and Mike were most notably not at Christmas 2017. That was Meghan's first Christmas. She was just engaged and was spending Christmas with the royals. They weren't there, and this came off the back of her suffering a miscarriage, I think earlier in the year or the year before that. But it's known that they do go to Australia for work. While that's not covered because, like, Zara, bless her, no one gives a shit about her and her brother because they don't have titles and they're Princess Anne's children. They don't get much coverage. So it's not necessarily noticeable if they are there. But obviously, the Cambridges most notably spent Christmases 2012 and 2016 away from Sandringham.
And 2014, apparently.
Did they?
Yeah, they spent three. I think it's 3 Christmases they haven't been there.
That's right. 3 Christmases they've missed. Bearing in mind the age of their children, which is 6, 4, and 1.5.
Oh yeah.
They have, George, not George. What's his name? Louis hasn't spent Christmas with the Middletons yet. It could happen still because who knows. But when that but I digress. When they spent Christmases away with the Middletons, they were praised for that. They were praising William for saying, "Oh, it's wonderful how they've included the Middletons," and because obviously with Diana, she didn't spend any Christmases with her family after she married into the royal family, and same for Sophie as well. So they were praised for that and saying, "Oh, how normal," because that's how Christmases are supposed to be. You spend one Christmas with one side of the family and the other with the next. The following Christmas.
Yeah.
So why is it a big fucking deal? Only reason why it's a big deal is because she's spending it with her black mother. I can't emphasize the black in this because
that's what I said. Yeah.
Because I read a bit of an article about that, the whole moaning about them spending it away from Sandringham, and they said a courtier said it would not have been a problem if she spent it with her father. That's a piece of shit. Go fuck yourself. Give me a break.
I was hoping to get through without having to bring him up because I have seen the commentary and I am absolutely disgusted. But we will come to that. Continue what you were saying, Nelly, because this is just...
They said they would not have a problem if she'd spent Christmas with her father. I'm like, are you talking about the same dude who's been a pain in everyone's side, not just the Sussexes? Because this is a man that not only has been dissing his daughter, he's chat shit on his ex-wife, chat shit on his son-in-law, and has chat shit on the Queen as well. You really want Meghan to be in touch with him, y'all? Your white supremacy is showing.
They're crazy. They're crazy.
It's beyond crazy. It's beyond crazy. I mean, first and foremost, Meghan is Doria's only child.
Yes.
Archie is Doria's only grandchild.
Yep.
It's his first Christmas. The way they're carrying on, all this foolishness about the Queen. Number one, the Queen was out riding in Windsor Friday night. Right now, the Queen's stronger than me. The Queen's going to outlive me right now, right? And let me tell you, that woman, I don't want to say anything bad against her because she has served and has a 67-year legacy. But it's the quality of that legacy that she is leaving that is really, really questionable. And I think anybody, to me, the Queen, she's a bit like a Lego piece to me at the moment, right? literally, people put her wherever she can fit. That's what it feels like at the moment.
Yeah.
Because One minute, the Queen supports their decision. The Queen is outraged. The Queen knew about Andrew. The Queen didn't know about Andrew. You know, Boris hoodwinks the Queen. It's like whatever they can make fit with the Queen right now, that's what they'll use. At the end of the day, Meghan and Harry are a family with their son, and they are choosing to spend Christmas like millions and millions of other families around the world are choosing to spend Christmas with one or another set of in-laws. This year it may be mine, next year it may be yours, and vice versa. They are doing nothing different to millions of other people around the world. And the victimization and the outrage and the vitriol and the hatred that people have spewed. You know, I've read things this past, well, you guys know, I've spoken to you. I've read things these past few days that have really, when I say they have upset the very essence of my spirit to the point where they have destabilized how I even function in my everyday life, because I cannot believe that people have taken this woman and turned her into such a commodity and figurehead for hatred from right-wing extremists, white supremacists, people who basically have no life, who you know, who thought for some reason in some parallel universe they had a shot with Harry. You never had a shot with Harry. I've always had more of a chance with Harry than you, always. So, you know, but this is, at the end of the day, this is someone's life. Meghan may be powerful, she may be rich, she may be famous, she may be a lot of the things that people think she's not entitled to, but she is. And she's also entitled to her feelings. She's entitled to her life. She's entitled to privacy, and she's definitely entitled to spend time with her mother and whoever else she feels to spend time with, because let it come out that it wasn't just her mum she spent time with. Let Serena, Jessica, Misha, or any of those others be anywhere near, and you watch and see the absolute outrage. But I'm tired of it now, to be honest. I'm really, really tired of it. And I think something more positive needs to, or something more strident needs to be done. We talk about it a lot, and we do lots of stuff within the Sussex squad. Yes, I know. But it's got to the point now where it's a real stand up. I mean, like those MPs, the last time we spoke, those 72 women MPs, they took a stand. And I think it's going to take more of that kind of action, because I'm scared. Every time I pick up my phone, I'm scared I'm going to see a breaking news that I don't want to see.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know, yeah. And this is because someone's choosing to spend time with their mum.
Exactly.
I mean, really? The Queen's going to die on Christmas Day, according to all these reporters and presenters. It's like, well, you know what? People die all the time.
That dude that was on there, you know,
Pierce, is it Andrew Pierce? That's it.
Yeah. Horrid little sod. Horrible little man, and his Republican sidekick. He clearly doesn't like the royal family, but he has an especial hatred for Meghan. And I'm like, calm down, mate. Your white supremacy is showing, you know. And well, it's not even his white supremacy, but like, I think he hates her because she is a woman of color who's done well for herself. Outside of as for royal married in, Meghan is overqualified, you know, in terms of like, she's an actress who made a name.
Very overqualified. You know? You're right. She's very overqualified. I think that, you know what I must admit, I want them to leave. Because, as I've said many times, they don't fit in, and I'm glad they don't fit in. Who would want to fit in with that lot? You know, the scandal is not new to the Windsors. This is we're just on another round, but they're not. It's not new. You know, can you remember the outrage when we found out that Charles wanted to be in Camilla's trousers? You know, I mean, I wish I could live in
Was it her trousers?
I was
something else, wasn't it?
I'm trying to be polite. I'm trying. I mean, really, who says that?
Nobody but Charles.
So this is not new scandal. We had toe sucking Fergie having her toe sucked by some Texan financier. We've had all sorts. The scandals. Everyone forgotten the scandal of how Anne ran off literally and is now married to the hired help. Remember, Colonel Tim Lawrence was staff.
Commander. That's right.
Lawrence. Well, he's commander now, isn't he?
I think he's an admiral now, isn't he? Or something like that.
They'll just keep promoting him till he gets up to her status, I suppose. But the thing is, he was staff.
Yeah.
He wasn't a self-made man who had who was self-sufficient before he met Anne, unlike our girl here.
Mm.
You see, Peter Phillips' wife is an actress.
Was an actress.
Well, yeah, she was. She's not an actress now.
Yeah. But yeah. But my thing with the whole situation is that, first of all, to me, it's non-story, because when Nelly broke it to me, because I was editing the podcast and she phoned me and told me what was going on. And I remember saying to her, "Is that a story? They're going to spend Christmas with their mother. Is that a big thing?" And that's how this whole situation is to me. It's a non-story. Everybody goes and spends time with their in-laws. It's not a big thing. And in a way, I don't want them to leave. I don't want Harry and Meghan to leave, because Harry and Meghan are showing them how it should be done. Yeah, they've got to check. The royal family if it wants to survive, has to change and go with the times. And at the moment, they're stuck in the 20th century, and Meghan and Harry are in the 21st century. And if they don't change, I can't see William and Kate being king and queen. I really can't. So
Kate, king and queen. Sorry,
you get me?
I just find
Isn't
that
it?
funny.
But I can't. I literally at the moment can't see it, because they're not rolling with the times. They're not doing what they need to do. They're not popular.
They are. So long as they're white, they're fine. They don't do anything else.
But you remember that we've got this propaganda machine coming out saying how everyone loves them. If you ask the kids of the younger kids, what's it, generation? Not the millennials, the one, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Post millennials.
Whatever they call themselves. They don't care about the royal family. They're not interested at all. The person they're interested in is Meghan. That's who they're interested in. And I think this is why I'm saying they need to, if they want to survive the royal family, they need to change, and change fast, because it's not looking good for them. It really isn't. So, as I said, I find this whole fake outrage ridiculous, because there is no story. Everybody, I grew up like that. I spent one Christmas with one grandparents, one Christmas with another grandparents, and a Christmas at home. That's what you do. There's nothing controversial about it.
This has got to be the biggest non-story. So, and you know what? I would be very concerned if I was a newspaper editor and my journalists are coming to me with this. I would be very concerned. I'd be thinking, what the hell is going on that you think this warrants to be a story that needs to be on our front page? But
exactly.
You see, when you're backed up with a whole right-wing, racist, xenophobic agenda, you can bring that kind of rubbish, because yes, we're now at the front. We're in the front row of a mega story that's going to be on every news channel, spoken about by every presenter around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that is because of this agenda that's going global at the moment.
Yeah. And
anyone with half a modern common sense would run them out the blinking office.
But my thing is, right, another thing that got me about this whole story is that they said they were going to spend time with Doria, and the press were going, "Why are you going with Doria?" It's like she has no family other than the royal family. Now, on the one hand, you're saying
they're horrible. They're not her family.
Exactly. Yeah, but on the one hand, you're saying, "Oh, the royal family's your family. You should be with them." But then they're saying, "You ain't part of the royal family. Look at you. You just married in, right?" So she's going to spend time with her mother, her family, the woman who gave birth to her. She's going to spend time with her, and they're trying to make out that the woman doesn't exist.
Mhm.
That's crazy to me. And it just is. It's another part of the agenda that they have. If she was white, would it be different?
But
Of course it'd be
but it
different.
is. But of course, it's different. We've seen it as we look. I don't know if you guys remember the Olympics 2012,
Mhm.
which was also the gold. Was it the Golden Jubilee?
Yeah.
It was also the Queen's Golden Jubilee, right?
Mhm.
And at that time,
No, diamond, wasn't it? Was it
Diamond?
diamond?
Yeah.
Sorry, diamond. Yeah.
Yeah, so diamond. So it was the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, and at that time, the whole royal family, remember,
Mhm.
took the ferry, or what do they call it? Basically
barge
on
thing.
Greenwich Pier.
Yeah,
so
the barge thing. Yeah,
Oh,
the
right,
royal
yes,
barge.
yeah.
Right, the royal barge. And do you remember the Middletons were on there? The Middletons. What were they doing on there?
Yeah.
Yes, last year when they suspected that Doria might be coming for Christmas, there was a big thing. Why is she coming for Christmas? I don't want my taxpayers' money paying for her. Where's she going to stay?
Oh,
When she got in the car with Meghan, when Meghan did the cookbook,
Yep,
and they
I
literally
remember
got in
that.
the car.
They had the
Remember,
launch. Yeah.
drove literally 10 seconds and outrage. What's she doing in the royal car? My taxpayers' money. And look, I'm not going to mince my words. We know what this is. And anyone that's listening that says it's not this, then you need to go and check yourself, because you are right on the course to be able to wreck yourself. Let me tell you, it's racism. It isn't, it's because it is because she is black. That is it. She has black blood. There is no other reason. So because there is nothing that Meghan has done from the day she started dating Harry right up until present day that has not been done before, either by Kate, who has done much worse. Yes, I know we're all seeing this lovely whitewashed Kate at the moment, but we all know Kate. Those of us who were around from their university days, we know Kate. You know, so you can whitewash her as much as you like. She's still Kate. You know, she'll always be weighty Katie. But, you know, there's nothing that Sophie, Kate, Zara, nothing they haven't done. In fact, Camilla even. And I know we're going to talk about it later, but when you consider the amount of response that Meghan generates for doing virtually what everyone else
Same
does,
thing. Yeah.
but also producing results, because you can't argue with that woman's results.
Mm-hmm.
When you compare the amount of comments she generates compared to others who are literally wiping the palace bowls clean with their greed, not a word.
Absolutely.
Not a word.
Yeah.
Not a word. Nothing.
Totally agree with you. All right. I think we've pretty much covered the Christmas nonsense. And we should move on to our second topic, which is an update of Meghan's lawsuit against the Mail on Sunday. So, last week, a number of organisations released more information about Meghan's lawsuit against the Mail on Sunday. In an update to the papers that have been submitted to the High Court, the papers began to expose some of the lies that have been put out to the public. So the first thing that was highlighted was the fact that the letter that Meghan sent to her father, it explained that the Mail on Sunday had only published 2 pages of that letter, and so painted Meghan in a negative and unfavourable light. Then it had information about Frogmore Cottage and the fact that all the things they were putting out about it were false. So, for example, the orangery, the yoga studio, the granny flat, the tennis court, all those things that they said was going to be in Frogmore Cottage were all false. The cost of the baby shower was exaggerated. So the baby shower apparently cost a fraction of the cost that was put out to the public. Remember, they were saying that the cost was like 300 grand and it was going up and up and up. It was ridiculous. And also that the baby shower was organised by one of her oldest friends and a friend of nearly 20 years, thereby debunking the myth that Meghan doesn't have any old friends. So they're basically saying that she's a social climber and that all her friends are new. But that was completely debunked. And then finally, they exposed the lie. The papers exposed the lie that Meghan was not invited to the baby shower. Meghan's mother was not invited to the baby shower. The fact was, Doria was invited, but she couldn't attend due to work commitments. You know that thing what everyone else does, work. So I'm glad this is slowly coming out because it's exposing the newspapers. Guys, what do you think about it?
Where do I begin?
I would say, and that's what it is. It's where do you start with this?
Mm-hmm.
You go for it, Nelly.
Okay, well, so I remember seeing the article from Byline Investigations, and you know, I don't know how I feel about it because I think I do know how I feel about it. I'm glad that all of that is out, but I think there could have been more things that could have, she could have gone for more sort of articles or sort of exaggerated articles. For example, I doubt her wardrobe cost Prince Charles £1 million, for example. You know what I mean?
No, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
Yeah. I wish she took them to court. To court on that, especially since we know that a lot of the stuff that she has worn, she's had before she married Harry, before she was engaged to him. So I think that was one thing she could have gone to town with them on for sure. Do they probably cost $1 million? Yeah, but that's neither here or there because they're expensive. They're expensive things, yes, but I doubt they costed that much money. They costed Prince Charles that because that's shit she would have that stuff she would have she'd owned before. Anyways, I digress. The only one that I'm really that concerns me is of course the letter to her father. We remember when that shit came out, right? And I looked at that letter and I knew from the jump that it was not a full letter. If you looked at it,
absolutely,
and you looked at that letter, and I was like, no way is all of that 5 pages.
Yep.
And then you got the sperm donor coming back and saying, I only gave them the parts that they could print because everything was just so hurtful. And I'm like, but it's come out saying that, she inquired about his health and was, of course, very, and was talking about the ways in which, the media were using him and, et cetera, et cetera. So, but of course, yeah, they use the parts in which that would paint Meghan in a negative light, and even so, it didn't paint her in a negative light. Here we have a woman saying, Dad, what you're doing is reckless. Just stop. That's not negative. That's a daughter saying you're moving reckless and you're not helping yourself. And let's be honest, he did not help himself because everyone looked at it. Even his biggest supporters said, "Nah, fuck you, son. You're a toe rag for that."
Well, it proved that he lied, didn't it? It basically, he went around saying that she ain't spoken to me for months and she's ghosted me and rah, rah, rah. And there it is in black and white that he's done himself, put out to the public. She wrote to him in August and told him to stop doing this, please. And she was asking about him. And yet this man is barefaced lying, saying that she hasn't contacted him. He shot himself in the foot.
He not only did he shoot himself in the foot, but and this is why I keep coming back to it. Hate is a really destructive thing, because if my best friend turned up at my house now and said to me that her dad had done half of what that man has done, I'd be like, sweetheart, I know it's hard, but you're just going to have to put some distance between you and your dad, because this is not going to get any better for now. Put some distance between you. And then maybe at some point in the future, you guys can have a chat and try and see if you can make some way. But right, so that's what I would say to my best mate, right? And I doubt very much there'd be very few people who wouldn't do the same.
Yeah.
So why?
I'm sure. Sorry.
So why then, as a collective, is the nation up in arms, wants this woman to be up underneath his backside, quite literally, begging him to abuse me some more, Dad, sell me out some more, please, Dad, lie on me some more, please, Dad, and whilst you're there, can you get your other children to really give me a good kicking whilst I'm down? I'm not a swearer, as you guys know, but you know what I'd say to them? Fuck you. Yeah. Right, because that is basically what the British press and their followers, those idiots that are reading and commenting on that crap, saying, oh, what about your dad's, Meghan? Oh, I bet your dad's not going to be there, Meghan. Let me tell you, if that was Doria behaving that way, poor Doria, she'd be swinging from a tree now. She'd be swinging from a tree. It would. She'd be swinging from a tree.
It's true. But here's okay. Well, here's another thing. Do you honestly think that had the races been, you know, sort of reversed, if Doria was a white woman and Senior was a black man, do you honestly think that he would the press would be saying make up with your dad, Meghan? I'll tell you.
Hell no.
No.
Of course not.
No.
Of course not. And I'm glad that it's come out that, I mean, most of us with any common sense knew they were rubbish and made up anyway. But yeah. I don't think they're finished yet. And then I agree with you, Nelly. There is more that could have been challenged, but I don't think they're finished yet. No.
I think they put those cases out just to show it's the basis of their argument. I think that you're right. There's loads more there, but they're not going to show their full hand.
Exactly.
Court. So they've just put out the stuff that's basic that they can simply say it's not true, not true, not true. Like that, for example, the bath, the copper plated $5,000 bath.
The stuff about Frogmore Cottage. Yeah.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
And that was basic Becky with that story as well, saying that they're getting a yoga studio, an orangery, a wing for Doria,
and the floating floor,
and saying saying that it's going to be more than the 2.3 million. It's going to could be a million more, and that turned out to be rubbish.
Exactly.
You know. I mean,
and the joke of it, and what keeps bugging me is they keep on going about this bloody taxpayer pay for this and taxpayer pay for that. Look, let's make it clear for people who don't understand, right? The Queen has land, the Crown estates or whatever it is, that makes a fortune. In return for making sure that she's okay and she has money to pay for her family or whatever it is, she turns over the money for her Crown estates, which is millions, and the government gives her back 25% to pay for the upkeep of the palaces and all the rest of her property. Frogmore Cottage is part of her property. It was dilapidated. It needed to be updated. The money has not come from the taxpayer. It's come from the Queen. It's her money. So I am sick and tired of hearing about this nonsense about the taxpayer paid for this and the taxpayer paid for that. The taxpayers paid for nothing. It's come from her own Crown estates, which she gives to the public, and gives to the government, and they give her back a portion to keep her palaces up to date. It's as simple as that. I wish that the newspapers would stop peddling these lies.
But this is the thing, Sandra. This is the thing. They are going to continue to peddle it because really, no one doesn't give a shit about the royal family. Pure and simple. The majority of the population is apathetic. However, what people do care about is their money. They do care about what their taxes pay for, and if their taxes go towards people that go towards people that are living a much better life than them, of course that's going to cause resentment. And it is.
But the money that's going toward the upkeep of her palaces comes from the Queen's property herself.
But people don't know that, and in all honesty, they don't care. You know,
Look,
they
if you
don't
if
care
you
because
say to
at
somebody,
the end of the day, people are sheep and they will believe
Yes.
anything you flip and tell them. So if you
exactly,
tell them that, you know, you know, because we live in a society, in a this society that we live in now. We live in a place where facts no longer flipping matter.
Mm.
It don't matter. You could
it's not
tell that
about facts.
yeah, it's no longer about, it's about feelings. It's about
Mhm.
feelings. That's what,
Mhm.
and because of feelings, that's the reason why Brexit happened. That's the reason why
Exactly. You
Donald
get
Trump
people.
happened.
Yeah, you get people in their feelings. Facts will
And
never
they
matter.
get people in their feelings, and they do stupid. They
Mm.
do stupid things.
They do foolish things. But you know, look, Harry and Meghan's cottage is funded by the sovereign grant, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been refurbished whether they lived there or not.
Exactly.
Okay. And it would
Yeah.
have been refurbished for 2.4 million whether they live there or not, because it has been made very clear. And for the purposes of our listeners, please do not accept what I'm saying as fact. Go and find the information yourself. Google is
It's
your
even on
best friend,
Wikipedia.
right? It's on Wikipedia. Google is your best friend. Okay. Don't accept what people tell you as gospel, even us. Go and look at it yourself, and you will see that every single penny above that 2.4 million that has been spent on that cottage was privately funded by Harry and Meghan themselves. You want to know how much Charles spends on Meghans Wardrobe since she entered the royal family in May 2018? Go onto princeofwales.gov.uk and look at his annual accounts. They are there for everybody to see. So when someone tells you, oh, she spent, what was it, 90K on a dress in Morocco, find out, how is that possible if his accounts, which are legal as we know, are
Mm-hmm.
filed, and it says that since she joined the family, he's only actually spent an additional 86,000 between all of them. How is her one dress at 90,000? Where did money come from?
Exactly.
Where is that? This is basic common sense. As Nelly says, people are sheep. You get them in their feelings and they forget that actually I can check this myself. If I'm going to get upset about something, let me at least make sure that I'm getting upset about the right thing. So hold on one sec. Let me go to my best mate, Google.
There you go.
Because Google, it's really as simple as that. And you know, all these other stuff, copper bath. Look, if she wanted a diamond crusted bath, that's our business. It's her money. It's her money.
Yeah, and that's the other whole thing, that money was used to restore the exterior of the house. All the furnishings and all the decorations that came out of their own flipping pocket.
Exactly.
Exactly. Oh my Lord. And
Yeah,
also
so
another thing that annoys me also is the fact they keep saying again, oh, hey, Meghan and Harry are funded by the Queen. They're not. They're funded by Prince Charles, Duchy of Cornwall. Everyone knows.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows Duchy
and the
of
thing
Cornwall
is,
is a business.
right, and therefore, because it's a business, its accounts are online, just like every other business. So when you want to get in your feelings and come to me and tell me, oh, but she does spend a lot of money and it's my money she's spending, what, you're £1.64? You're £1.64. You're vexed because Meghan has spent your £1.64. And the thing
Stupid.
is, that £1.64 isn't even all for Meghan. That £1.64 has got to split how many ways? So really, you're telling me you're vexed because a penny of your money went to the woman with black blood. Oh, I'm
Yep.
sorry. So tell me then,
Yeah.
how outraged are you that your money goes to support our nurses, our firemen, our police? They're all public servants. They're all taxpayer funded.
Exactly.
And the joke is, Meghan is not. Meghan and Harry are not on the civil list.
Exactly.
I thought they were.
Right. No.
No, they're funded by Charles.
They're
Okay.
funded. Charles funds William and Kate and their kids, and also Meghan and Harry and Archie.
Yeah.
Really? I
Yeah.
was under the misapprehension that
No. Charles funds his family, but he gets some money. He gets some money from the civil list, if that's what it's called now. I can't remember what it's called anymore. But it's Philip, Queen, Charles. I think the people who actually get money from the civil list, but it's not called that anymore.
It's not called that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, but Charles funds his own family, so he pays for everything apart from the house, for Kate and William and Meghan, Harry and baby Archie, and also the Cambridge's kids. He funds for them. So where they keep coming up with this is taxpayers' money. It's not. It's Charles's money.
Right. It's just that I thought that the civil list was abolished.
It is. It's under a new name. I can't remember what the name is.
Sovereign. I think it's the Sovereign Grant Act. I think.
Yeah, Sovereign Grant. Whatever it is.
It's been abolished.
But the Sovereign Grant covers the upkeep of the palaces and any of her properties, and money for her duties. The Queen, that is, duties. Prince Philip, I think he gets a cut out of it as well, and Prince Charles, because he's the heir. They get it's to pay for all their expenses, their offices, all that sort of stuff. But to pay for Charles's children and grandchildren, he pays out of the Duchy of Cornwall's money. It's not out the Sovereign Grant.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I learn something new every day on this podcast. So
there you go.
And,
so it's all right.
I hope so does our listeners as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there you go. All right. So I think we've done that one to death then.
It's just that obviously I hope that she's successful with these lawsuits because
look, there's no hope. She will be successful. The facts there speak for themselves. She will be successful. And you watch, they're all going to come back and eat humble pie. And you know what really infuriates me about Meghan, though? The loveliest thing about her is also the most frustrating thing about her is she's so damn nice. So when they come back to eat humble pie, she's going to be just as nice to them as if they hadn't created this whole mess in the first place.
Yeah. They should have just sat and ate their food, as far as I'm concerned, and not write shit about it. When I say shit, I mean write so negatively. They went in, from the jump, and you have to also go back to the initial report of her and Harry's relationship being outed. That report by Camel Toe, when she used to be at the Express, that was wrong. She said that they met in May 2016 when Harry was over in Toronto. Meghan wasn't even in Toronto.
She wasn't even in Toronto.
Yeah, there you go.
And what else? It was just so many. There were so many, all that report was just all wrong. The only thing that was right about it was that they were a couple, But a lot of the facts in that piece were so wrong. And that bitch has the temerity to be on TV calling herself a royal editor.
Oh, I can't stand her.
No. Listen, basically what's happening now is the chickens are coming home to roost. All the lies they put out, all the nonsense they put out, they're now going to get sued for it. And they're going to have to, if I was newspapers, right, I will settle out of court because they're going to lose a hell of a lot of money. And they're going to lose their reputation's rubbish anyway. But it's going to be even worse after this because they'll be proven liars.
They can't settle. Harry and Meghan, no matter what happens, they cannot settle this out of court because
I'm talking about the newspapers. If I was the newspapers, I would try to settle this out of court. Harry and Meghan sue the arse off them. But if I was the newspapers,
don't let them settle. Don't let them settle.
Yeah, but if I was the newspapers, that would be my tack. I'd be trying to settle out of court because they're going to look so bad out of this. It's going to be so bad for them. But what can you do? Anyway, let's move on to the final bit, where we're going to talk about the attempt to link Meghan to the scandal that's engulfing a senior member of the royal family. Right. So let me just say my piece. and we'll talk about it afterwards. Okay. So last Saturday, on the 16th of November 2019, an interview was broadcast by the BBC with a senior member of the royal family regarding his links to the deceased convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The fallout from that interview was catastrophic for the member concerned. The person concerned has had to, in speech marks, step back from royal duties for the foreseeable future, end quote. However, there have been a few articles that have been put out by certain papers about alleged comments that Meghan has been supposed to have made. How do they know that she has made any comments? That's my first question. She has started with Harry her extended family break. We don't know where she is. And if she has allegedly made these comments, I don't think she has personally, why haven't we had any articles about other members of the royal family who have got something to say? Because I'm sure they have. So, ladies, what do you think about this whole, this scandal, the ridiculousness of it all?
Okay, well, we're not. Okay. I know you got personal beef, Gayle.
You know that. You know that. I'm gunning for him, and I will say his name, Prince, in quotes, Andrew. Scandal. Scandal Andrew, come true.
Oh my God, you kill me. Y'all kill me. No, but yes. So I can't remember which one of the right wing so-called ones did it. Was it the Tory graph? Or was it the Times?
And another one. And the other one.
The Tory graph started it, picked up by the Fail.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, and they put it big splash on the front page, saying that how Meghan is aghast. First of all, Meghan would not use such words. I know she's got a wide, she's got a big vocabulary. She's a smart kid, but no one says aghast. That is that's a very British, not even British, very English, very upper class thing to say.
Yeah.
And I just do not think Meghan would be saying shit like that. I do not think she said this. I doubt I'm sure Meghan is very aware that anything she says would be scrutinized within an inch of its life.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt she made these comments. But if she did, and they were in private, and they were in private, and if they were with like a friend or someone she supposedly trusts, fuck that person for going to the Telegraph and saying that. But
that if she spoke in private, I'm not saying she may have said this, I'm going to make it very clear. I don't think she said it either. But we all know for a fact, if she had spoken to a friend in private, that would not come out.
Yeah.
Her friends wouldn't leak. So I don't understand why they're saying, well, it's normal, isn't it? A source said.
Yeah.
An insider said this. There's no source apart from mayonnaise and cake and Heinz sauce and all that sort of stuff. There's no source. Yeah, there you go.
Can we just
say
source, right? For the purposes of branding, there are other red sauces available.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you for clearing that up.
Anyhow, look, we all know Meghan never said a word, right?
Yeah.
Poor Meghan's minding her business, doing whatever she is, wherever she is. Meghan never said a damn word.
Where she is.
Exactly. Right. And and to be honest, I'm just disturbed that we even have to be discussing this, quite frankly, because this scandal is not new. This scandal is we are just in the latest incarnation of this scandal. This has been going on since 2008, long before Meghan and Harry even knew the other existed. Okay, so to try and connect Meghan with this latest incarnation is just, well, it's short-sighted for one thing, because whichever way you look at it, Meghan comes out a winner. And I'll tell you for why. Because if, and it's a mega if if she did say, and if she did have any emotion that she wanted to express to the public about how she felt, then she, along with the other 95% of the British population, or the other 95% of the global population, she was right to be aghast, because the rest of us are aghast, whether we use the word or not. So she's not an outcast. Okay, what I would be thinking if I was a member of the royal family is, why isn't anybody else aghast? They're not aghast because to them, it's just, it's unfortunate, right, that it is now out in the public domain. They can no longer kick this ball around and hide it. The ball has set itself free. It's rolling down the damn hill. There's nothing you can do to stop it now. And trust me, there's a whole lot more coming. Right? This is nothing. Andrew is not new to scandal. You know, he's not good prince gone bad. He was bad prince from morning.
Yeah.
Right. He was bad prince from morning. So I'm telling you now, right, buckle up, babe. Buckle up.
Yeah. The other thing that I want to say about that particular article is that it comes off the back of about a few days ago, In Touch magazine, which is one of those tabloid magazines in the USA, had actually printed something quite similar, a very similar story, saying that Meghan is shocked and angry with Prince Andrew for expressing for expressing no remorse about being friends with a convicted paedophile. So it kind of makes me think that that story came off the back of that magazine. And In Touch is owned by AMI, which is owned by the National Enquirer, and In Touch has previous in terms of being a pain in the ass for Meghan. I mean, this is the same magazine that printed open letters from sperm donor's son, Markle Jr., saying that how Meghan would be a disgrace for the royal family and all of that. This is the same magazine. So it's a magazine that is clearly on the warpath where Meghan is concerned. And for the authors of that article, they've written that big, put that on the front page of the Telegraph, and then to switch up the story a few hours later, because because I think what's the name of Meghan's legal team?
Shillings came.
They must have got a call from them to say, you better change that shit.
Exactly. And the thing is as well, what we can never lose sight of, and this is something I had to remind myself yesterday when it was really getting to me, is that Meghan is an easy target for so many reasons. So many reasons. The one reason being is that she is genuinely a nice person. If there was anything at all untoward about Meghan in Meghan's past, we would know, because it would be printed. We'd see the pictures, it would be printed, and it would be all out, because the gloves are already off where Meghan's concerned. They've already taken the gloves off. So what they're printing now are her supposed reactions to try basically what. And if you read the comments, I don't know if you read the comments on the fail regarding that story. There were 2,000 plus comments on that on Meghan's supposed outrage. 2,000. How many comments were there on Andrew? They had 5 stories in the Mail yesterday about Andrew and his shenanigans. How many comments do you think in total they had across those 5 stories?
Not 2,000.
I can tell you now, it wasn't 2,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't 2,000. It wasn't 2,000. So Meghans,
you're right. Meghan's easy target.
She's an easy target. Put Meghan's name in anything. Even when they're talking about, Doolittle,
Avocado.
They put her name. Yeah, they put her name first, even though the article's about, unable. But That's so, and I think that there is a degree of acceptance about that from Harry and Meghan. But what they won't tolerate are the blatant lies. That they won't tolerate.
Yeah,
which is fair enough.
Yeah, and why should they? Why should they?
Because I know if it was me, I wouldn't accept lies about me either. I'd be
no,
asking.
no one shouldn't. No human being should.
Look, I don't even like when people spell my name wrong. Right, much less. So there's no way. No.
Yeah. So this, as I said, this whole story, or this, they're trying to link Meghan to this other member of the royal family, is ridiculous. She has nothing to do with it.
Andrew.
Yes, yep. He has nothing to do with it. This is Andrew's mess and his mess alone. Keep her name out of it.
Himself.
Yes. Keep
her name out of it, because it's nothing to do with her.
But if you want to include somebody, why not include? I know everyone keeps saying, "No, leave his daughters alone. They've got nothing to do with it." I wish you had the same compassion for Meghan. Your daughters were hobnobbing with Jeffrey Epstein at various parties, and Harvey Weinstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell. So they are just as culpable, right? In fact, they are more culpable than Meghan, because they were around. Meghan wasn't around.
Exactly.
Right? William and Kate, again, hobnobbing with both Epstein and Weinstein. Like, Jeffrey Epstein was at William's joint 18th birthday party in the Queen's accommodation. Don't tell me Queenie didn't know. Queenie know everything. She's known everything from day dot. And now I read some foolishness this morning about how Andrew hoodwinked the Queen. Hoodwinked what?
Oh,
Of course.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Hoodwink the Queen. Oh, right. It's all right, Mum. Just got a few friends coming to stay. Oh, yeah, he wasn't around because he was in prison. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. The other thing that it's just been really upsetting to see people equating the Sussex's so-called troubles over the summer as are they trying to equate that
the same.
It's the same. It's not the bloody same.
It's not the same. And not only that, what troubles? You know what? When you think about it, what troubles?
There was no troubles.
They didn't have no damn troubles. What? Because they went on holiday. Their friend said, "Look, why don't you come and stay with me for a few days
and use my private jet?"
And use my private jet. Yeah. Well, tell me, how is that different to me saying, "Sandra, come round for dinner. Don't worry about driving. I'm going to send an Uber."
Yeah, exactly.
How is that different?
It's exactly the same.
Yeah,
but
but it's the exact same, don't you see? I mean, you just have to be friends with, it's the exact same of being friends with a guy who's exploited children sexually.
That's the same.
And to pimp out these children to rich old men. Fuck them, seriously.
That's the same.
For that.
So if you want to talk about Harry and Meghan's troubles, well, I wouldn't mind their troubles. Someone can send their jet for me.
Exactly.
I don't mind.
It's ridiculous.
I tell you who's got troubles, but people want to ignore are the other two. How the hell could you get involved in that scam, knowing full well you knew that the whole country was talking about your brother and his wife and this faux outrage? And you then go and create this whole stunt around 2 airplanes to show that you're man of the people, and you got caught. That's troubles.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of Cain and Abel, Cain apparently is not a huge fan of Prince Andrew, and apparently helped Charles and the Queen make a decision to sack him. According to Palace Insiders. If that is the case,
opportunist. Typical William lets everyone else do the dirty work, and then he attaches his name afterwards for the glory. Do you know what? I want him to become king. I want him, because I need a holiday. Right, and the moment they put that crown on his head, I'm off.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
I mean, like that. this is the thing, and it's also funny to see like all sort of Tumblr posts that we've been seeing on the timeline lately about how they're sick of Kate and William hitching on, you know, Harry's coattails. You know, when the three of them had the foundation, obviously a lot of the, you know, the work that the foundation has been doing. A lot of the stuff is Harry that's been.
It was Harry. Yeah, it was. And they showed that old interview the other day where someone actually asked him whose idea was the Royal Foundation. He said, "Oh, I can't remember." And I thought, what a sweet boy. He knows it was his idea. He knows that William not do a fart. He knows.
Yeah, well, it's also been suggested that, because remember the Royal Foundation was founded when it was just the two of them.
Exactly.
You know, so it could. I'm not saying it is, but it could have been a thing that was suggested by their team back then, that they do something, you know, joint and stuff. You know, I'm just saying that could have been a thing. You know, but of course, perhaps Harry was the one that gave it more of a guided push, because, like I said, William does not have an original bone in his body.
But William not do nothing. Look how it. Okay, just as a quick, and this is, listeners, get involved with this as well. Make 2 columns: Harry, William, right? And I want you to list all of the endeavours, the funds, the charity initiatives that they've both done, right? You've got literally 60 seconds to list as many of Harry's charities, patronages, events, whatever, and also 60 seconds to list William's. And I can tell you now, we don't even need 60 seconds because I've done William's already. Right. There aren't any.
Because that's so true. Anyway. Oh dear, that was a good one. I think we should end it on that. Because you can't beat that. And yeah, we're up to about an hour now, so let's end it and move on. All right. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to my wonderful co-host for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Don't forget to send in your questions and or topics that you'd like to have discussed on future episodes of the podcast. If you'd like to be a guest panelist on the podcast, please reach out to me at hello@aduchesslikeus.com on email, or DM me at duchessus on Twitter. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, and please share this podcast with anyone who you think would be interested in listening to it. If you have time, I'd be grateful if you could leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, as it helps more people to see the podcast. I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode and that you'll come back for more soon. So I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.